Wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. God made me punch in accurate numbers. My castle won't crumble. What I tackle will fumble. I've been a leader when they ain't see it, but now my feet up. According to me, royalty didn't end with King Tut. Crown on my head, clouds is at my legs. Big says sky is the limit. I look down on the ledge. I push the bar like I'm opening a cell. Hands in my cookie jar, you won't come out with a single nail. I need all of mine. The weight of my shoulders won't fit on a scale. What's a king to a giant? Well, Goliath fell. Even if we playing chess, dog, this king can't be checked. I make all my moves on the board. I invented my steps. I'm a king, the blood of a ruler. I feel like Mansa Musa. Make your squad disappear like landing by the Bermuda. Triangle, look at it from my angle. I'm a king, the closest thing to being one of God's angels. I'm a king. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put in extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Code of Conduct of the King podcast. I am your host, JSpenceTheKing, and I am so happy, so excited to be back with you guys. Last week, I was out in Alabama for the Senior Bowl, and I had the time of my life. I had to, first of all, I'm not joking when I say that. I know I kind of laughed it off. I had the time of my life. The Nelly concert was awesome. I posted some clips. I don't know if everybody saw that, but the actual game itself was entertaining. Some good plays, both defensively, offensively. A lot of people that caught my eye. A lot of guys on offense. A couple offensive linemen that I love. A couple safeties that caught my eye. I got to do some more research on before I really want to jump out and say that these guys are my draft crush for the Buffalo Bills. But all in all, had a great time last week. The hospitality down south is not something to be taken lightly. When you hear Southern hospitality, they are being honest about that. Because I'm going to tell you what, everywhere you went, it was nothing but smiles, nothing but good conversation. The hotel, everybody at the hotel was there. Just everybody. I had a good time down there, and I got a good chance to catch up with some of my SB Nation people. Got a chance to catch up with Antoine Staley, who does the chop up with us. Just a great time overall, just a great week. But now we're back. And now it's Super Bowl week. We just got done with the Pro Bowl. Let me ask y'all this. I'm gonna ask Nyheim in a bit, but how do y'all feel about the Pro Bowl? I feel like it's split. Before the game, before I watched the clips and stuff of the flag football game, I'm like, man, this is crazy. This isn't gonna be, this is gonna be lame. Josh Jacobs came out and he said that, to him, this game is shit, or the new format is just not good. We had quite a few people talk about what they like or don't like. My viewpoint of it is, for me, if the players enjoy it, if the players like it, I can get with it. But for me also, if I'm being honest with you, dodgeball, all that stuff ain't fun. I miss the days where they had the throwing competition with the quarterbacks. I miss they used to have big guys. Sarah Larson was talking about this. They used to have big guys pulling the trucks with it strapped onto them, and just different things that I would still like to see that's competitive, where guys don't have to put their bodies out there, but at the same time, it's something that the fans will want to watch. We'll see. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and stuff. I just like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan, but it's Super Bowl week out here in Glendale, Arizona. I'm a little depressed about it. I can see State Farm from my backyard. I can literally look out and I can see it, which lets you know how close I am to the stadium as far as proximity where I live. When you talk about traffic patterns, it sucks out here anyway. Right now, I don't want to leave my house for nothing. It's despicable. The type of traffic patterns and all the stuff that's happening right now is disgusting. But I'm excited for this weekend. I know the Buffalo Bills aren't there. We should have been there. Don't have to rehash old memories and old feelings at this point. But I think the Eagles are gonna take it. There's no hate for me on this. I'm not that person that's like, well, I don't want Burrow, Mahomes, Herbert, or whoever else to win prior to Josh. I think, I said it a couple of weeks ago, or I said it last week, you know, only one team wins the Super Bowl. So in essence, even if you make it to the Super Bowl and lose, 31 teams are disappointed at the end of the year. If my team is competitive, they're playing very well throughout the season, they're winning often, and they're in the conversation at the end of the year, I'm with that. Now, will I like for the football guys to smile on us once and for all and let us win a Super Bowl? Heck yeah. Yeah. And I still want that. Absolutely. That's all I want. Give me one before I die. That's what I need. Give me a Super Bowl. But I'm also understanding of the fact that every year only one team can win it. Two teams can make it, one from each conference. This year just wasn't the year for the Bills. And I think if you're honest about a lot of things and you go back and you take a look at these things, then you understand that Josh Allen really did mask a lot of the issues that the team had. So when you're talking about, oh yeah, but Spence, we have the number 2 offense in the league. We did. But we also did that because Josh Allen added a huge chunk of yards in the rushing game. We did that because the long I don't want to say this like it's a negative because it's not a negative. Josh Allen is very good at the deep ball. He's very good at big plays over 20 yards. Very good at it. However, yardage and points scored and all that stuff, it matters when it's about those statistics, but it doesn't matter in one game samples. So if you're talking about through the whole season, yeah, you go out there and you throw these bombs, but when you're in the playoffs and you're playing against these teams that typically are the top 6, 7 teams in the conference, you're going to get better defense. You're going to have better players on both sides of the ball. So I just don't want it to be where the only thing Josh is doing every year is leading somebody to a fantasy football championship because he has the most deep passing yards. He also rushes for touchdowns and rushes for big yards. And like, I don't want that. Like, forget your fantasy team. You get what I'm saying? Forget that. At some point, I would like to see Ken Dorsey and Josh Allen evolve together, grow together, and allow the offense to every single play take what the defense gives you. And I know it's so simple. It's a cliche that we talk about in every sport, really, basketball, football. You take what the defense give you. But I'm going to just tell you, if Josh Allen on a play-by-play basis took what the defense gave him, he would win MVP every year. This isn't a hot take. To me, this should be common knowledge. He is a freak of nature when it comes to being put together to play the game of football. There's been times in the past that I've compared him to LeBron James. He's bigger than most quarterbacks that I remember in history. Maybe Culpepper, Big Ben, Cam Newton. Josh is built like that. He's in that mode of big body players. But then now that he's gotten better as a passer, you put him in a category of some of the greats of all time because he can make throws that other people can't. The throw to John Brown on the sideline when John Brown had to reach out for it, when Josh was rolling to his right. Huge play. Huge play. There's so many plays I can think. I don't want to get into that because there's so many plays I could do throughout the season that would make you say, Josh is that dude. But yet, on 4th and 2, instead of taking a 4-yard completion to Dawson Knox to continue the drive, we throw a 40-yard pass to Gabriel Davis, who, by the way, this season led the team in drop percentages. Not that other guys don't drop the ball, but what I'm saying is take what the defense gives you. Gabe has made several big plays like that. So I'm not even saying don't target Gabe. We go back to the Pittsburgh game, and he absolutely ate their lunch, breakfast, and dinner. He ate everything that the Pittsburgh Steelers was offering up. He ate it. You go back last year to that Chiefs game, Gabriel Davis ate it. So I'm not giving up on Davis. I don't think he's a bad player at all. I think Gabriel Davis is a very talented wide receiver. I just think that we need to get him involved in the offense in plays other than stretching the field. Let's get him involved in ways where, Maybe some 5-10 yard passes. Maybe run some of those drag routes. Maybe sometimes switch things up on offense just to have fun with it. Line him up in the slot. Then switch Diggs in the slot, Beasley in the slot. Then put Khalil Shakir needs more snaps. He needs more snaps. My guest of the evening, Nyheim Hines. I need him to have more snaps. I need him to have more snaps. There's just a lot. There's just a lot about the way the game is played and the Buffalo Bills conduct themselves on offense that it's fun to watch as a fan, but it's also frustrating to watch as a fan. Because, yeah, it's beautiful when Josh is, coming out the game and he has 3 touchdowns, 70 yards rushing and 1 on the ground. And then we also get a touchdown on our running backs. That's beautiful. But at this point, I'm actually getting to the point now, too, where I don't even care if it's the best offense in the league anymore. I don't care if we have the number 1, top 5, top 2 defense in the league anymore. What I care about is executing in the biggest game of the year. And when you're talking about the coaching staff, a lot of people were calling for McDermott's head, his job. People were calling for Frazier's job, even Ken Dorsey. I think that's a bit ridiculous. It's a bit much. But I need them to coach better in the biggest moments of the year. I don't care if we're blowing out the Rams week 1. It was fun to go to LA and see that. It was so much fun. So much fun. But then when you lose the last game of the season at home against the Bengals, and now I'm seeing the Bengals have the same conversation that Bills fans had last year. Their fan base is saying the most important thing. Shout out to my man, what is it? Game 1J. Shout out to my guy. He's one of the guys that's pushing that narrative and the content for the Bengals. Number 1 thing for the Bengals next year is to get the number 1 seed. There's a reason why teams want the number 1 seed. But for me, number 1 seed or not, you're playing at home in the playoffs, you score more than 10 points. You got Josh Allen, you score more than 10 points. I got jumped on the other day on Twitter because I was talking about, I don't think, Justice, my guy Justice, was saying that for the Bengals to score what they scored in that game against the Chiefs, is embarrassing for them to have the guys they have. And I made the same statement, and some people got upset because I was talking about the Bills in the same way. But listen, all season, the lowest point total for the Buffalo Bills was 19 points. The lowest total of the season for the Buffalo Bills was 19 points. If the Buffalo Bills had scored 19 points and we still lost that game where it was 19-24 or 19-27, I don't think we would have been as ticked off. Because at least the offense was doing something. But 10 points at home, divisional round. And then don't even get me started on the conversation about home field advantage in the playoffs with the cold and the snow. Build a damn dome. Build a damn dome. The Buffalo Bills looked lost in that game. We don't have to let me move on because I wasn't even supposed to be recapping the game. I was talking about Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl, all this other stuff. It's just upsetting because I know that the Buffalo Bills were supposed to be here. I was supposed to be partying with Jordan this week. I was supposed to give Nyheim hey, I wanted to meet him in person for the first time. I get to meet him tonight here on the show, but all those dudes were supposed to be out here. Dion we were supposed to have a party. Big Griselda stuff. My man Benny was supposed to be out here. Dion was supposed to be partying with him. I was supposed to be partying with them. That's what this weekend was supposed to be for me. Instead, I'll be sitting at home eating Picasso's pizza on my couch. Look, let's move on. Y'all done listen to me rant about just random stuff enough for the last 15, 20 minutes. So I'm going to bring my guests in. Everybody knows him. Everybody's happy to see him. He is Nyheim. He is him on special teams. He has been the answer to my prayers since Andre Roberts left this team. Let's get it.
Degrees here this afternoon as Folk puts his foot into the ball. It's going to be short. Fielded at the 4 by Hines. Coming straight up the middle to the 20. Cuts it back at the 25. He's got an alley down the right sideline to the 40. 50. Down to the 40. 35. 30. 20. 15. 10. 5. Touchdown. Nyheim Hines. 96 yards. Run as fast as you can. You're not catching Hines. He's your end zone man. Buffalo on the board with the first play from scrimmage.
Are you kidding me, Chris? They showed Josh Allen his arms on his head on the sideline. Sean McDermott, it appears, has tears rolling down his face. What a tribute to DeMar. This special teams unit, this kickoff return unit set the tone for what today is going to be, and that's a celebration of number 3, DeMar Hamlin. And they started off just like that, running the opening kickoff, 96 yards.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited because everybody in Buffalo, when we traded for this gentleman back at the trade deadline, everybody was excited for multiple reasons. I'm excited because I kind of have multiple ties. So like I'm a Bills fan, but I lived in Indianapolis for a bit of time. So they were kind of like my second AFC team. So when this trade happened, I'm like, we got to get to, like, this dude got to get involved. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Mr. Nyheim Hines joining me this morning. How's it going, bro?
It's well, man. I'm appreciative of having you on and a big fan of the show. So thank you.
I appreciate that, man. I'm trying to bring something different to the podcast community where we talk to the players and actually get, some insight without it always having to be like, well, what was this play like? And what was this like? Like, I just want to talk to y'all, get to know you a bit. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. So with you being in Buffalo now, though, man, so the season's over. You were there since the trade deadline. So what's your first impressions now that you kind of have had some experience there? What's your impression of the city, the team, the fan base, just in general?
Fan base, first off, best of the NFL, hands down. Bills Mafia is unlike anything I've ever seen through all those things, helping us, first of all, bringing the energy every Sunday. Every game was sold out loud. There were players who got stuck in their driveways. They're helping us out of our driveways. There are fans who just spent hours and hours of work just dedicating their time to a team they love so much. And I'll start there. And then Buffalo has been great. It's different. Obviously, I came from a dome team, so, playing in the weather was, an adjustment. But it wasn't too bad. I mean, I guess cold games weren't that bad. And truthfully, I just love the city. Love the city. Great environment. It's kind of like a college town. It kind of reminds me of where I'm kind of from, like where you drive around Buffalo. Like, I'm from Garner, North Carolina. So when you drive around Garner, you see a bunch of like Garner High School emblems, symbols everywhere. It's just like when you're on, 210, 219, 5, or any of those things in Buffalo, you see Buffalo Bills stuff everywhere. So it's nice. It's like a real college town vibe, and I love it there.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's one of the reasons why like when people come to Buffalo as a free agent, a lot of times, or a free agent or a trade or however they come, typically, they'll come into it not knowing much about it. And I've seen in the past previously where people didn't want to come to Buffalo and then they get there and then they fall in love. Like, for instance, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I don't know if you remember when Shady was traded to Buffalo from the Eagles.
Yep.
He was not happy. He was not happy, but then he fell in love with it, and now he loves the city of Buffalo. He loves the fan base, and it sounds like everybody kind of has a similar experience when they come. Let me ask you this, because like I just mentioned, a lot of people used to talk about Buffalo before the draft when we got Josh and before Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. Buffalo was like the NFL Siberia, like that, and that's actually what they used to call us. What
it is
in your eyes? Well, it's still cold like that, but what has changed as far as like Buffalo being a destination spot for players now? Because it seems like now players want to come to Buffalo.
Winning solves a lot of things. You get a great quarterback in there. Josh came in the same year as me, so I played them our rookie year together. We beat them 38-5. 2 years later, they knock us out in the wild card in the playoffs. When you turn things around that fast, such as Sean and Brandon have done, people want to go there. Even when I got there, the first thing I think about is the weather. Like, personally, in my opinion, I played all the cold places except Green Bay. But if you play Chicago, Green Bay, and Buffalo, those are 3 worst places you can play weather-wise. And outside of that, I told my dad, I was like, dang, Dad, what do you think about the weather? And he just said, Nyheim, think about it. All the players go there, but they always get players that want to come back. So I must say something about it. And now after being here, I see why. The weather isn't too bad. They have technology. We have tricks. And the wind is what it is, but you get used to it and you practice in it every day. So we have a better advantage than the other guys across the field from us. So it's been great, and I love it there.
Man, well, I tell you what, it's been refreshing for me as a fan because I remember when, free agency used to hit, and or even like you said with the trade deadline and stuff like that. It would be times, man, where we would be like we wanted so many guys to come to Buffalo, and Buffalo used to overpay, and it's like we just so bad. It was so
Oh man, look,
bad,
I
man. So
trust me. I
now,
would, dude. I was hoping I could go to Buffalo. Like my agent was telling me the teams during the trade deadline where he's like, "Hey, Nyheim, we might get traded." Blase, blase. He's like, "Yeah, Buffalo's on the team." I was just like, "Buffalo, Buffalo, please! I want to play with Josh. I want to play in that offense." So
see,
it goes. And I remember 5 years ago, nobody wanted to go there. It's just that's how it is. And winning solves that. Great leadership and ownership solves that too, which we have here in Buffalo.
that's that's dope, man. Because even like I said, so getting you was a big deal. Now, again, we wanted you more involved in the offense, but getting you there, Vaughn came in free agency, and again, like just people just talk about how they want to be there. It's refreshing. But so let me ask you this though, because Brandon Beane he mentioned a few times publicly that he's like had his eyes on you as like a trade piece. I guess they wanted to draft you. Like Brandon Beane talks about you often in these interviews that I looked up. Um, how for you this first year coming in, do you think that as much as the team wanted you here, we didn't use you much in the offense? Do you think that had a lot to do with just like because of where like the time of season you came in and we were kind of already rolling, or special teams? We're going to talk about that in a second, but why do you think offensively you weren't as active of a role?
I mean, man, I got there in what week? I got there. The Bills are 7-1, 8-1. So I got there 9 weeks, 8 weeks later. After four OTAs for 9 weeks. So I missed 9 weeks there. Then I missed another 4 weeks of training camp. That's 13 weeks. Then I missed another 8 weeks on top of that. So I'm 20 weeks behind. And there's chemistry with the team, and also too when I get there, I have to learn the playbook, but also too they have to make plans for me. So I'm very patient with that. But also too it's just like, truthfully, with the Bills, I know they've wanted me. I've even heard over the years they try to trade for me. So I'm at a place where I know I'm wanted. So just knowing that is okay. And, I will always love the Colts. I appreciate everything. But, it's like dating. You have a new girl. There's a girl that's been looking at me for a long time. And I'm going to give her a chance and opportunity to see how this works. I love it here. I wanted to be here. And honestly, just like you said, man, I think this is the chemistry, man. I think, and truly in Buffalo, I believe everything that Sean and Brandon say. And they also talk about earning the right to play here. And that's what I plan on doing. Obviously, I tried to make the most of what I was given. And in life, sometimes you may not get everything you want, but that's how life's supposed to work. You go back and work for it. So I have a whole chance now to get my bearings, know the plays, have a whole offseason under my belt, learn the checks. So I have to look at Josh crazy sometimes, and like he's talking gibberish. And I'm excited for that. So that's what I'm really thinking about. Although I wasn't used how I wanted to be offensively, and everybody talked about it. I mean, it's not Madden. You don't just go plug and play. That offense is very complicated. And then those guys who work 24 weeks that I missed, they've made plans 24 weeks without me, and now I'm just in there. So that's really how I feel about it. And I'm going to earn the right play. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going there, work my butt off, and I'm going to earn the opportunity to touch the ball more and be a great teammate.
Well, no, we're going to see it, and I already know. I talk frequently about how you were a compliment to Jonathan Taylor and like the talent that
oh my God.
I mean, it jumps off the screen, though, man. Like obviously everybody knows JT. Like we know what type of player he is. But man, when you stepped in, it really like there wasn't no drop off in a way. And I think that's why a lot of Colts fans were disappointed that you were traded. They were happy for you, but disappointed, like, man, like so I guess my question now is not in comparison to players. I don't want to do that, but in Indianapolis, being there with JT and now coming to Buffalo, and you were with Devin and you were with James as a rookie. What were the biggest differences outside of like the scheme for you? But like the running backs room in general. Indy just seemed like it had a little bit more of a. Now the run game was focused on more out there, obviously.
Yeah, it was focused on way more. So I think.
So.
I think the schemes are a little bit different. I mean, I think Buffalo's run schemes are different. I think they fit a little bit better than Indy's, but Indy has a great scheme too. They have a great line, and even the linemen are different. Like Indy, like they're a little bit more downhill. They got those big guys like Quinn. We lean on them. We have guys like Mitch Morse at center who can pull around. So when you have different things like that in Buffalo, you have different types of runs, and I think both teams match their personnel well. So that's what I personally think. And, going from, Jonathan Taylor to, Devin, it's kind of cool, and the crazy thing is I'm older than all those guys. So, like, even Devin, like, I always thought Devin was a pretty good player, and then I actually got to work with him, and I think he's a lot better than even he's even given credit for. And I see why he's even called Motor. His name's Motor because that's what he is. He's a grinder. Like, he's not the biggest, fastest, strongest, and he's a very, very strong guy, you know. And he's not the guy who ran the 4.340 like myself. That man just get it done. And that's what I respect about him. He runs hard, and even though he's like 200 pounds, he runs like he's 215. He runs behind his pads. He's a great player. And Jonathan just watched him, you know, mature. And, you know, mature over the, you know, because when Jonathan got there, I was a rookie. Oh, well, he was a rookie, and I was 2 years older than him. So watching him grow into the player he has, and even watching him grow, his confidence has been amazing. And James Cook, don't even get me started about James Cook, man. Everything about him is amazing, man. He's a great player, and for him to even be a rookie, he's very, very calm, cool, and collected. He doesn't get rattled, and shoot, everything. He's a clone, man. Him and his brother, like, he looked just like his brother. Like, he runs like his brother. It's amazing, and I'm a big fan of his brother. Watched him all these years, but I think James Cook has a really bright future in this league too. So I've been around some great guys, and those guys have all pushed me, and I think we've all learned things from each other to make all of us better players.
Man, I'm so looking forward to the continued just to see how he evolves, the evolution of James Cook, because he, like you said, to me, I look at him and I see a lot of similarities, and then I can see the things that people say are different between him and his brother. But
yeah, and I feel like his potential is untapped too, though. Because like even in Georgia, think about it. In Georgia, he didn't really start, so it was like you never saw him really get like 20 carries a game, 15 carries a game, which I think he can do and handle well even in the NFL. So it's like even for him, I feel like he's great, but it's like we haven't even seen the most of him because he just hasn't been in that role to have those 20 carry, 5-6 catch games, which I think he's capable of.
I think the combination of running backs that we have get you more involved. Hopefully, and I've been saying this too, hopefully we can get Motor back. I think Motor runs bigger than he is. He's a short guy, but he's like you mentioned, he's strong. He finishes plays, man. Like I've never seen a guy like,
man. He'll juke you out too, man. He puts some dudes down.
I don't know if this is like what y'all call it as a running back. Yeah, I was about to say the dead leg. I think he got the sickest dead leg in the league. Yes. Man. Insane.
Yeah, Chicago, he put a couple of guys down.
It's just insane. Like I'm trying to think of the one play where he literally just stopped and like 3 people went flying, and it was just like, yo, it's insane. So, but yeah, I can't wait. I want to see how that running backs room kind of continues to grow together and evolve. And like I said, hopefully we can bring Motor back. But so now let's talk a little bit like specifically about your role now. So like this past season, they had you in special teams, which I don't know if you had all heard, because I know you mentioned that you're a fan of the show and everything. Man, when I tell you I have prayed for you, like you have been my deliverance from hell on special teams since we got rid of Andre Roberts. And I'm saying that with respect because I do love everybody on the team. But there were moments where special teams, punt returns, kick returns, I would literally hold my breath every single time a punt, like we were back to man, it hurt. It hurt. So thank you. You are a beast back there, bro. Like, so let's talk about that play. So obviously the season finale, the Patriots, we all knew the scene. DeMar, after witnessing what happened with DeMar in Cincinnati, we all knew the energy in Buffalo was going to be crazy. First, walk me through just like the emotions of that first play, like walking on the field, knowing that the kickoff is coming, and then for it to happen like that. Just kind of like walk me, and I'm sure you've given this answer 50,000 times already, but kind of just walk me through how like that whole thing played out for you.
I mean, I was back there and I was ready, and the return we actually had called. We ran it on him earlier that year in the Thursday night game, and I had space. It looked the same type of return. The backside guy tackled me, and actually, he was actually a really, really great player. And actually, that game he was hurt too, so which is even more interesting. But I just remember catching the ball and looking down and just seeing space. And then once I just broke outside, I just knew it was me versus them, and I'm taking me every time. So it was really amazing. I feel like nobody was ready for the play other than myself and those 10 other guys out there. Those 10 other guys, I've been so close, like this close all year. And those guys, ever since day one, when I've gotten there, Coach Matthew Smiley's head special teams coach, and all those guys have believed in me. Like when I first got there, those guys, the guys who I played against, like Tyler Matakevich, Tywan Jones, our leaders, Saran Neal, they're like, "Are you returning this week?" And I told them, "Yeah," and they were excited. So it feels, you know how it is, man. When you have people that believe in you and trust you, you can do anything, and that's really how I felt about that. So every time I'm back there, I know if I get a little bit of space, I can go, and that's why I even tell them. I told them they don't even have to hold on long. Give me about 2 seconds. I'm fast and I can get through there. That's all I tell them. And those guys, I just remember just running through and hearing the crowd, my ears going deaf, jumping in the crowd, man. And it's probably honestly, that was the best day of my life so far. It was amazing.
Man, 2 returns and then it's just wow. The way they obviously, the the way the media, and I'm part of the media now, so the way we talk about it, it's a little crazy because it's like, okay, this hasn't happened for 3 years and 3 months, and like just the theme of three and everything that was happening with DeMar. It was such an emotional moment so I heard what Josh said about how for him it was like a spiritual moment, McDermott. But after the game, when you had a chance to kind of reflect on that in light of what happened with DeMar, how did you kind of put all that into focus?
Even with that, I mean, I think that's why I'm here. Like, I believe I'm here. I've always believed I was a player who was that spark plug. And I pride myself on being that guy that when the team needs you most, being there. So that first play of the game wasn't even the play I was excited about. It was the second one where we're down. We had some momentum. We lost it. Offensive struggle. Now we're down. Boom, another kickoff return. And that's really just what I think about. Even just like the funniest thing is I was talking to our team psychologist. She always just checks on me, especially since I've been there. Moving in the middle of the season is tough. Obviously the offensive role wasn't, I got my touches and I had to learn the playbook, which is hard. So even myself, I'm trying to figure out how I fit in. And, that's the one place where I felt like I was fitting in was kickoff return, punt return, and things like that. So that was why I was here. I was here for that play. I was here to, ignite hope and pride and joy, because I feel like that play wasn't just a football play. That was a play for our whole community. There were things that happened before I got there. And since I got there, we had the 2 snowstorms, DeMar. And I think I was brought there just somebody new who's never been there to just bring joy, hope. And I hope that's what the Lord used me for. And hopefully, with all the things that happened with DeMar, there's things I've never seen. People on ESPN praying, like taking a second to pray. I've never seen that. So, it was powerful, like just everything. If he was on CNN, this is something I've never seen the whole world focus on something. And for me to be that person, bring us a little bit of hope and joy, I feel like that play wasn't just for me, but that was for Buffalo. And just showing everybody what God can do.
It was unreal. It was unreal. And then, like I said, for it to be 2 in the game when, even not just in Buffalo, it's a rare thing for a kickoff return like that. So for you to get 2 in the same game, and it was just, man, it's amazing. So just so you know, I am, as far as special teams are concerned, you are talking to your biggest fan and supporter. I mean,
man, we got to get to the Pro Bowl or All Pro, man. Look, I always have those 2 returns too late in the year. It's week 17, 18. I need to do that early in the year. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the opportunity too, man. Those guys, I'm telling you, those guys block. They block really well for me.
Well, you're gonna do that though. You're gonna get there. The last Pro Bowl returner we had was Andre Roberts, who I mentioned a moment ago. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again with Nyheim Hines. It's happening. Pro Bowl and All Pro. It's happening. So I got 2 last questions for you, man, and then we'll roll up out of here. You mentioned the Pro Bowl. So this past weekend we had the Pro Bowl with a whole new format, a lot of different things, flag football game. This seems to be split. We heard Josh Jacobs say, man, this shit is horrible, but then we have other side of things where people are happy about it. How did you view the Pro Bowl format? Are you a fan of it?
I didn't watch all of it, but from what I saw, it looked fun. I mean, I think it's really just based on the guys. If the guys buy into it, I think it's fun. But really, I can understand how America does not want to, want this to go on. But it's just like us. Like, think about it. Like, we worked 20-something weeks straight. And then for us to honor ourselves and our great season, after 2 weeks later, we got to play in another game. So it's just like, and obviously people don't understand people don't understand how much that goes on the body, even if it's a Pro Bowl. But guys are competitive. But I actually like the format. I hope to go one day and I hope to do the best catch, do some crazy flips or something, and play dodgeball. But I think it's really just I think it's good for the sport, and I think we'll figure it out over time. But I think you just have to stick with it and go with it, or if not, you have to. People might just cancel it. But I like the honor of the Pro Bowl. I like all those guys being on the field at the same time, and I think they should just try another year, or just kind of just take surveys and see what happens.
Yeah, I want them to bring back the quarterback challenge though, like the distance
and the fastest man challenge, like the 2000s, like with Ocho Cinco, C. Smith. Yeah, they need to, and even the one where they drop the drone. The drone drops the ball. They need to do all those.
And that fastest man, when you talk about, man, Tyreek Hill thinks he's the fastest in the league around everybody, and part of me feels like we got a couple guys on the roster that don't get love for speed. People sleep on Taiwan Jones. I'm gonna leave that alone. You are definitely one of them. So I'm just saying. So last one out of here, man. This weekend coming up, y'all was supposed to be out here in Glendale. I'm just saying, y'all was supposed to be here, but we got 2 good teams in the Super Bowl. If you had to take your pick right now, or how do you feel like this game is going to play out?
It just depends on Kansas City health. They had some guys get hurt last game, so I think the Eagles have a great defense and a healthier team. But man, when you playing against 15, you never know. Truthfully, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who's on that team. I feel like you could put my sister out there in Kansas City and my mom in the slot, and I think they can open somehow. He gonna get him the ball. So, but I have a lot of respect for Nick Sirianni. That was my guy in Indy. So I'm pulling for Philly. I got a lot of good friends on Philly, and I hope that Nick's doing well. I've been following him, and he helped me in my career a lot. Truthfully, in Indy those 3 years. So I'm hoping Philly has a great game. But I want to see a great game, and I'm never gonna be mad if I see Patty win one. I mean, I'm really kind of split. I love watching Patrick Mahomes play, but I really hope my guy Nick Sirianni and them can pull it out.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's tough for me. So it's when you're a fan of football and you watch Patrick Mahomes play, it's just like, this dude is incredible. Like
He's
you just enjoy, you just enjoy it. Like, but then obviously as a Bills fan, it's like, man, I don't want Kansas City and I don't want, but I think I'm growing to the point where I'm kind of like you, where it's like, there's certain people I root for. I want those guys to perform well. Certain coaches I want to see meet their life goals and do certain things like that. So yeah, I think I'm kind of on the same page as you there, man. But listen, I appreciate every moment you've spent with me. Is there anything you got going on, like any charity efforts or just anything that you want to highlight before we get on out of here?
Yeah, actually re-signed for my third year as a national spokesperson of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. And I'm super excited about that. For people who don't know, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, it supports muscular dystrophy, which is a degenerative muscle disease. So basically, your muscles actually just wither away. And just to raise awareness for that and use my platform in the NFL has been an amazing thing. And to find more about that, you can go to mda.org and you can learn more. It's 40 different types. ALS is one of them. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are affected by that and you don't even know it unless you do the research. So hopefully you can join my fight and just learn more about it, and just raising awareness, just knowing about it is enough. And I can't stress that enough. Just educate yourself.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have that in the comments here or in the description. So that way, if you are like me and you're lazy and need a link, just go ahead and click the link. And if there's any way that you want to support Nyheim, man, we're gonna do it. So Nyheim, good luck this offseason. Good luck going into next season. I hope to see you in Buffalo for years to come. I mean that. Like you are that too. Guy for me. And hey, and you know what? And I also want to say, I normally don't do this. Your guys, Jeremy and everybody that represents you, they're so top notch, man. They respond right away. They
shout
keep
out to my dad.
No, honestly,
I like them, but my dad picked them for me. My dad knew, so shout out to my pops for that. Has some good guidance.
Well, shout out to pops, because you'll be shocked how difficult sometimes it is to maintain communication or to get things done. So I just wanted to thank them publicly as well. And hey, you have a good time this off season. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your family. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how I do it here with the code of conduct over at Buffalo Rumblings. Y'all love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative, go Bills.
Code of conduct.